Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Concord and Ninth. Thanks for joining me today. Allow me to introduce you to the brand new Pick-Me-Up Turnabout Stamp Set. Concord and Ninth is known for their turnabout stamps. These are a great way to create your own customized pattern paper, and this brand new Pick-Me-Up Turnabout is one that you'll reach for over and over again. So here's a look at the stamp set. Keep in mind it does come with the alignment guide, as do all of the turnabout stamps from Concord and Ninth. It features some fabulous sentiments, the turnabout, as well as some little detail images that you can use to stamp around your sentiments or to add a few little splatters here and there. Now, as with all turnabout stamps from Concord and Ninth, you can stamp this 1, 2, 3, or 4 times to create your own pattern paper. And the back of the packaging is a great place for inspiration for color combinations. It also includes a QR code that will direct you to their website where you can watch a full-length video tutorial on using these turnabout stamps. So let's have a look at this stamped 1, 2, 3, and 4 times using 4 different colors. I love that by changing up the colors, you can create a totally different feel. And keep in mind, you can always stamp these in a single tone of ink, as well as on colored cardstock to create various looks. So I have my Pick-Me-Up Turnabout stamp aligned in my Misty stamping tool, and I'm going to take a piece of white Concord and Ninth cardstock and place it on my all-in-one Turnabout Jig inside my Misty stamping tool. I have the number 1 on my all-in-one Turnabout Jig in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm inking up my stamp using some grapefruit ink from Concord and Ninth, and then I'm just going to close the lid of my Misty and stamp that onto my cardstock. Now I'm going to take my Turnabout Jig and I'm going to rotate it so that the number 2 is in the upper right-hand corner. I'll give my stamp a little clean, and then I'm going to ink up the stamp in some honeycomb ink. Once I have that inked up, I'm going to close the lid of my Misty again, press that onto my cardstock, and then I can open my Misty, rotate my all-in-one Turnabout Jig to where the 3 is in the upper right-hand corner, clean my stamp. This time I will ink up in lemongrass ink and stamp again. Now I am stamping on some 5.5 by 5.5 inch Concord and Ninth white cardstock today. But keep in mind, you can also stamp this onto smaller A2 size pieces of cardstock. I just like to stamp the full 5.5 inch square piece because that means once I trim this down for a card front, then I can use the scraps as borders on other cards, and I have that extra piece left over that I can use in various ways. Now I've rotated my all-in-one Turnabout Jig, I have cleaned my stamp, and now I've inked up in the Juniper ink from Concord and Ninth. I'm pressing that onto my cardstock, and this is my finish stamped pattern. I love how these turnabout stamps can be customized with the number of inks that you use or the number of times that you stamp it. You could also use embossing powder to create various looks as well. Now, when I'm removing the cardstock from the all-in-one Turnabout Jig, I like to roll the Turnabout Jig away from the cardstock to keep me from getting any bends or warping in my cardstock. And let's have a look at a couple of cards I created using this Pick-Me-Up Turnabout stamp. I've created a background here using those same 4 colors that I showed you earlier. Just trim that down and added a white heat embossed sentiment onto some colored cardstock. Now for this background, I did all of my stamping in Nectar ink onto white cardstock. Then I added a piece of vellum over the lower half of this, kind of at an angle there to kind of mute that pattern back. I finished it off with a die cut sentiment and a heat embossed sentiment from the stamp set. This new Pick-Me-Up Turnabout stamp set from Concord and Ninth is one you'll reach for over and over for every occasion and every season, and I can't wait to see what you do with yours.